NOYCE CONVO, brought to you by Voice Entertainment. Let's dive right in. Today we are thrilled to have Eugene, a.k.a. MNiMic,
Yes.
in the studio. We are so excited to have you. How are you?
Doing pretty well.
How was your experience playing at The Voice?
That was kind of a new thing for me because never tried Denon before. There was some, miscommunication with the device, but was sorted. Still had pretty fun.
Do you live in Goa?
I do.
How long have you been in Goa?
That's actually my 10th year over here.
Amazing. Why did you move to Goa?
That happened way strange. I had a friend over here, and he was bro, I'm way bored over here. Come over. Let's have fun. I was like, what am I supposed to do there? He's like, just come. We'll figure it out. So I'm here, and we figured it out.
Did you were a musician when you came?
No, I came as a photographer, professional photographer. I proceeded to nightlife photography mostly, and was doing all this stuff, gigs, shooting artists, making friends, and slowly, step by step, last year, I switched to music.
Why? What made you switch to music?
The music is a special thing for me. It's I consider this to be universal language on which you can speak to anything, literally. Sound is everything. And I even heard that the light is actually the sound, but on a different frequency. So yeah, that's kind of love from my younger years, and musical was always calling me. I even tried to play guitar, and stuff. But DJing and the field of the possibilities of the sounds and the music made me love electronic music also, because I was not into the electronic music at all. 8 years back, I just got into this, and slowly, step by step, was digging, and now I'm into dark side of the electronic music, psy techno, dark minimal techno, and even a little bit of psytrance since last week.
Would you say that your sound is dark?
Yeah, I would. Definitely.
Why do you always gravitate towards that?
It's I don't know. It's always interesting to go and just explore the mystery. This is the, how do you call it? The direction of mine into music. So I'd love music to drown you inside, to cover you with the vibe, not to uplift you. Just take you and just deep you somewhere.
So would you say that your mood is one of the reasons that affects you to go towards dark?
It's not about the mood. The music can be dark and a little bit maybe depressive for somebody. Just for me, it makes me grin. It makes me smile. It makes me just jump.
Would you call yourself a dark person?
Mystical.
I like that. That. Was it difficult? Was it a difficult transition from photographer to a musician?
Not at all. I just learned how to play the controller, the basic stuff, and then I was just observing, just watching how people do different techniques, different tricks. And I think the most difficult part is the selection and just getting the right thing for to match the vibe which you have in your mind. So you just go on this, it takes time, definitely. Just I'm trying to be very, very close to what I can imagine. So in a way, it is difficult, but I wouldn't say that for me it is way too hard.
When you're selecting music, do you have a process
of listening? Just of listening through the track. So I can tell first 3 seconds of the track, in the middle somewhere, because I can tell if I'm gonna pick it or not.
Has there been a track where you say the first 3 seconds, I don't like this, but then later on, maybe this is not that bad?
Yeah, and now that's kind of one of the favorite artists in the genre. I heard his track, it was just on the phone,
Who is this?
His name is J.A.I. Hi, J.
Yes.
So his sound is way sharp and at the same time deep, and it feels like every single sound is on its place. So as a beginner producer, I'm trying to approach this, definitely. Not even close. I heard something like all around as to his music. This is like deep in my heart now.
Do you think you will continue photography?
Definitely
if your music career picks up?
Yeah, I will. It's fun. It was never a job. It was never work. Like I was just doing the things I love. Yeah, definitely I will.
So now that you've been in Goa for 10 years,
yeah,
what do you think about the Goa music scene? Do you think it has changed a lot?
It's still like, it's not changing. It's just from time to time it's switching. It's switching from melodic to like hard techno, from hard techno to melodic, then to like minimal stuff. We had an era of like, let's say 3 years over a year of minimal. It was like everywhere and it was like pure fun. Now everything is being switched to melodic back. So for me, it's like it's like, it's good. It's very fun also, but it's way too pop. I would go for more underground stuff.
Sweet. So what do you think about the Indian music scene?
Indian music scene. I heard Psytrance started from Indian music scene.
It did.
So what else to say? Like Psytrance is a huge culture. So it's a huge culture, and there are so many different styles in this, and it's great if it started if this genre, which is taking the crowd, like bringing up all these festivals, which actually one of them happened in Hilltop lately. I brought my mom over there. She was having fun on Psytrance.
Did your mom love Psytrance?
That was the first gig ever for her.
Has your mom ever heard you play?
No.
Has she ever heard your music?
Yes, she did. She likes it. She doesn't call it dark. It's fun, but Psytrance is way dark for her.
What is dark according to you?
I would call it the low notes, low frequency notes, and they should be sounding fat and juicy. So it's it makes you not just it makes you, it's covers you with the vibe. So
would you call your music as colors?
Definitely. Black, dark violet, dark bluish mix. These morphing colors.
If your music, minus your music, what do you think is dark?
Apart
from music.
In a sense of what? In a sense of...
In life, what do you mean by dark?
Mystery. Always mystery, but mostly it is being used as just to define good and bad. Dark is bad usually, bright is good. I know lots of people who consider themselves bright enough, but they're bastards.
So they are busted. So how did you get into music?
I just switched from the photography during some time. It just took me some time to switch. I was just shooting the other day. I was shooting a gig. It was minimal techno, psy techno, and just sound just triggered me. And I was listening to this sound, following this sound in a way. So not I couldn't hear the beat at all. I was just literally following this sound, and it took me somewhere. And then it's just blooming stuff happened inside of my head. So just a narrow line heading you somewhere, and then it's like a flower. So and this is how I literally felt it first. Not just listened, but felt it first. So something is blooming in my chest. So that means I love it.
When you make music, do you also follow this feeling?
Kind of. When I synthesize the sounds, I cannot stop. I cannot just, say it is done until it is really done. Until the sound, which I can imagine, comes there into the software. So yeah, and once it's there and I pick specific notes, specific keys, and that makes it feel. I have goosebumps and stuff. If I have it, then it works good. Until that moment, no.
Do you call yourself a perfectionist?
In a way, sometimes. Sometimes you just need to let it go. You need a balance, actually. But in some things, it's good to be that. But in some things, it's really bad. It's just ruined lives.
Do you have a specific sound that you go towards every time you make music?
I have an imagination of it, but it's like way hard to describe in a language.
Just one specific sound that you always go back to.
The specific kick I'm picking, like a psy kick, like which is deep and like.
Do you always pick that sound every time you make music?
I'm trying to, like, there are several kinds of kicks you can make from other samples and stuff, but I definitely go and try to stick to a specific beat, a specific sound of the kick, a specific key of it and stuff. Yeah. And it's like all the track is based on this. So like you pick the kick and like on this, you build all the structure, like which makes it somehow, it just sends it somewhere there where I love it.
If you had to collaborate with anybody, who would it be? Who would be your first pick?
As per now, I just discovered an artist whose name is E-Wake, and this guy is fantastic. Like he's doing like not that heavy stuff, but he's doing something light, but still in the same genre, like minimal and psychedelic a bit. And still, it's not a psytrance, but it's like I would call it like, you know, like when you go through the forest, through the fine pine forest on a sunrise, like with the fog and stuff, the sun just goes up.
For a person who says that you love dark, I love the way your mind thinks that it's going through a pine forest through sunrise.
Like at first rays of sun appearing, like just
in the darkness,
like the twilight, a border. I would say that. So this is how I feel his music. That's interesting. I'm playing dark. I'm not playing that light, but I would love to experience with this. You know, it's very interesting. It's still the same psychedelic vibe, but in a different interpretation.
If you could mix these two perceptions, what would it be?
Something new for this world, I would say.
Would you call it dark or bright? Or what would you call
I don't want
it?
to call it twilight, you know. But I don't know. I need to try it out first. I cannot tell it like this. Like I need to hear what is happening there on those freaks. Yeah.
When you make music, if you just have 10 minutes, do you sit down to make music?
Everything inside me says, yes, do it. But I cannot do it like during 10 minutes. It's nothing. 10 minutes takes me to maybe to find a kick, but even that barely is happening.
Do you forget that time exists when you make music?
Yes, definitely. I was sitting I can start at 9 p.m. and just sit there and just... the only thing which attracts my attention that I have to stop is the sunrise in my window. This is how it goes. I don't eat. I don't drink water, nothing. I'm just deep there, like in the sound. Like nothing exists apart from the sound and the picture of the patterns and stuff.
If you were not a musician, what would you be? Or a photographer, what would you be?
I don't know. I actually wouldn't change a thing in my life. I literally enjoy every single experience I had. No regrets at all. So that's in a way, difficult question. Maybe a sound.
A sound. A little bird told me that you'd be a tattoo artist. Would you be a good one?
I suck in sketching and painting and drawing, but that would be nice, actually. That's a kind of an art which also has no limits, I would say. Same as music.
Would you combine both?
Combine both what? The sound and the tattoo artist, definitely.
If you could paint your sound, what would it be?
It's gonna be a line, for sure, like a curve, something like this, which comes to some, makes it thicker, then it switches to the spiral. The spiral paints like some kind of a...
Squiggly?
In a way, like kind of, and a foresty thing, I would say. Kind of like the main, the main mood is gonna be like forest.
When you play music, and is that what you want your audience to perceive every time they
I
listen to
hope
your
so. I
music?
hope when I just, send the mood, share the mood, I hope they perceive it in the same way as I'm sharing. But I cannot tell if it's like this. But I hope so. Yeah, because if it's working that way, that means that everything is correct, right? Yeah.
Has it ever crossed your mind that when you are playing music, have you ever thought, oh, they are listening to my music, but what do they think?
It happens to me with every single thing, like even in the communication you can just ask yourself that question. But during my playing, like, no, I wouldn't say that, but I'm just observing how people, the expressions, the eyes and everything, like how they feel over there on the dance floor. And if, like, as for now, everything is fine, so everybody is enjoying. So if something is wrong, you have to change the vibe completely. But like, it happened to me so that I never did. So just sticking to my vibe, and it's like, okay.
Rapid fire questions. What's the first thing you do when you wake up? It's supposed to be fast.
Okay. So I'm disappointing
What?
in the reality. I had a good dream. Come on.
Oh. Analog or digital?
Analog.
3 words that describe your DJ sets.
Dark, mystic, driving.
What's the best crowd you've ever played for?
Salute for Pandora's closing.
Why do you say that? Why?
People were just there and they were just catching the vibe I was sharing.
A track that always gives you goosebumps.
Sorry?
A track that always gives you goosebumps.
Jay come from.
Headphones or speakers blasting.
Speakers blasting.
If you could teleport anywhere right now, where would it be?
I would go to meet my friends.
In Goa?
No, in Russia.
Favorite midnight snack after a long gig?
Russian candies, sweets, chocolates.
If you're going to teleport to Russia, please get some.
Yeah, of course, of course. I'm gonna get a big bag of this.
Amazing. If you weren't a DJ, what would you be doing? Never mind. What's your go-to airport office?
Go to airport office. What is
Outfit.
this? Outfit. Same as always. Like today is like I'm a bit brighter than usual. I'm usually wearing pure black.
One habit you can't break.
Smoking.
What's your guilty pleasure movie?
Movie. Book. Not a movie anymore. Too many movies in my childhood.
Okay, what's your
Like
guilty-
if it's a movie, it's like, okay, Contra.
It's
by
your
James.
guilty pleasure?
Kinda.
A track that you secretly love but won't say.
Track.
Yeah.
Not even one. I would love to share everything that you ask me. I love it.
Guilty pleasure.
Not happen.
You won't say it. Okay, what's the one advice you would give musicians?
Be yourself and do what you love in a way you love, and forget about every single person who says that you're doing it wrong. Feel it, do it.
What's the one takeaway from the session today? What's your one take back from the session?
The
your
expression.
studio? What is the one thing that you'll take with you from today's studio
The experience,
session?
of course, like, and the experience about the playing, the entire studio like setup, and the communication with those guys in the studio, like very good crew.
Thank you. What is the...
I'm talking about the guys. I'm not talking about you.
Ouch. What is it? If you could describe Voice Studios, how would you describe it in 3 words?
Professional, friendly, and flexible, I would say.
Thank you so much. That's it for our interview. Thank you for letting us have you. You've been listening to Noise Convo, brought to you by Voice Entertainment. I'm Neha Menon. Big thanks to our guests for sharing their journey and to you for tuning in. Until next time, stay curious, stay creative, and always keep it noise.